You may recall last week I mentioned an interview between CNN's Don Lemon and Terry Crews. In that interview, Crews stressed the importance of including white people in the fight for justice for black people. In that conversation, Lemon seemed to criticize Crews for speaking out against the Black Lives Matter organization and their methods with a series of tweets. Among those tweets, for which he's been widely criticized by the radical left activist, he said, quote, "Defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we're all in this together." Well, now he's got plenty of reason to say, "I told you so." It came to light a few days ago that in a June 23rd episode of the Cannon's Class podcast hosted by Nick Cannon, he made the claim that blacks are the real Hebrews and that Jews have usurped that identity, and referred multiple times to the beliefs of noted anti-Semite Louis Farrakhan. Later in the episode, which has been almost completely scrubbed from the internet, he also said, well, let me just let him say it for you.
When they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of low self-esteem. They're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages.
Wow. I mean, because anti-Semitism isn't politically correct, despite the radical left's best efforts, Nick Cannon has since been forced to extend his deepest and most sincere apologies to his Jewish sisters and brothers for his anti-Semitic remarks. He went on to say, "I want to assure my Jewish friends, new and old, that this is only the beginning of my education. I am committed to deeper connections, more profound learning, and strengthening the bond between our two cultures today and every day going forward," end quote. For some reason, I'm a little doubtful about that. Might have something to do with the fact that he talked for over an hour about this topic. And notice, he didn't apologize to white people for calling them true savages. Well, that's because it is politically correct now to refer to an entire racial group in such demeaning and dehumanizing terms, well, as long as they're white. Nothing bad could ever possibly come from that. The fact is, this mentality is not fringe. As proof, I bring you this infographic from the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which is a project of the Smithsonian Institute. In a graphic titled "Aspects and Assumptions of Whiteness and White Culture in the United States," generally positive characteristics are demonized by being labeled traits of whiteness. Let me read you some of them. Self-reliance, the nuclear family, objective, rational, linear thinking. Hard work is the key to success. Christianity is the norm. Respect for authority, valuing private property, planning for the future, delayed gratification, viewing progress as best. Holidays are based on white history. I wonder if they've ever heard of Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. He wasn't white. Now, they also say when executing justice, intent counts. Decision-making, being polite. I got to say, this may be one of the most racist things I've ever seen. And not even against white people. I think it's clear that this graphic proposes that black people bear the opposite of all the traits I just read to you. I think Richard Spencer must have written this graphic because it's terrible. Not only does it disparage character qualities and virtues that have nothing to do with race, but making those virtues unique to white people is in itself racism, raw racism. It's also disrespectful, and it's outright wrong about black people who are just as capable of virtues as any white person. The glimmer of hope for our society is that there has been a good amount of backlash on Twitter to this graphic, and maybe enough to force the museum to offer a retraction and apology. But in the same way, the Democrats and the media have minimized conversations about the atrocities committed over the last few weeks in major cities all over the country. focusing instead on fringe opinions. I fear they'll make the ideas conveyed in this graphic to become the cultural and political standard. We need more good, principled people on both sides of the aisle to stand against the onslaught of backwards values that our society and culture are being just completely run over with by these radical leftists. America would be a lot better off if we didn't have to choose between a party trying to plug holes in the ship and a party trying to tear the ship apart plank by plank as we struggle to float. Well, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell if you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like and be sure and share the comments as well. We are running a challenge, and the person who shares with the most lefties wins. So if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, you can sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It's totally free. Be sure to check back here tomorrow evening for the live stream of the next episode of Huckabee. That's it for this edition of Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.